Did you ever take a look at the Chinese App Store? Because let me tell you, there's some weird apps out there and we are gonna find them now. Many people in the West don't even know that Chinese people have their own app stores. So you might know the Apple App Store or Google Play. In China, there's a lot more app stores and the biggest one is Tencent My App. And many of the apps there are completely different from what we know here in the West. So let's take a look at the Chinese App Store, and at the end of this video, we will also be able to draw some conclusions from the type of apps that we find they're trending about society in China versus the West. So we are here now in Tencent My App, the biggest Chinese app store, and we already see kind of the big apps that everyone has at least heard of once in their life, probably QQ, WeChat, Weibo. In the all section, you also have some apps that everyone knows. TikTok, etc. is also in there, homework help, and they have some pretty standard stuff. But what we are gonna focus on today is social apps, because social apps are really where you can see some trends in how a society behaves, in how a society operates. And from the top of the head, we can already see a lot of dating related stuff there, chatting, make the first move, adult dating chat, whatever that is. So let's click on some of those apps and see what they're actually about. Yeah, I actually had to click on this one. It was too enticing. Let strangers in a strange world have ties and let boring hearts have fun. Gathering of opposite sexes, carefully polishing, solving the problem of loneliness. Pairing of men and women, anonymous encounters. Yeah, I mean, you can see what this is about. Also, the design language is a lot more saturated, is a lot more overloaded than in the West. But yeah, interesting that a lot of people here seem to be very comfortable with making new contacts online. We have another app that I wanted to check out. It's called Healthy Aging. Health in old age, reconnect the world and make life better for the elderly. Relying on the community, we built a digital life platform for the middle-aged and elderly community with medical health and life services. So this is basically, it seems to be some sort of a social network for elderly people where they maybe also can talk about health, book doctor's appointments, etc. So seems like in China also old people are a lot more open and familiar to kind of use their own social apps. Let's jump to the next one. We have Krypton Golden Beast here. That's a funny name. A trustworthy game account trading platform covering all categories of game transactions such as mobile games and PC games. It provides game services such as buying and selling accounts, valuation and appraisal for the majority of game enthusiasts. This is interesting. So this is basically a marketplace apparently for games or in-game assets. So what do we have in the West that is comparable? We have the Steam Marketplace, but the Steam Marketplace only applies to Steam games somehow. We have some recently upcoming over the past few years, we have some NFT marketplaces, but NFT based games haven't really taken off in the gaming community. So that's also not really comparable, but it seems like this platform has managed to onboard game developers of all sorts and build an exchange for digital items. It's super interesting that this has worked out in China, whereas what we have in the West, that comes closest is probably Steam, but also not really comparable. Next up, we have Micronucleus at Wehe. What is this? Change your lifestyle. At Wehe, share the beauty of life. At Wehe, enjoy simplicity and communicate quickly, where everyone is in the center of attention. Apparently, that's the name of the app, Wehe. Users can interact efficiently and conveniently, and the super interesting private chat mode makes chatting private and fun. So is this just a normal social app, I'm wondering? Or is this meant to kind of get to know new people, but it looks like just something very similar to Telegram. This is very funny because this is one of the most used stock photos of all time. I think every startup that needs some happy customer faces uses this stock photo. Maybe you've seen it already somewhere. Okay, this seems to be a quite normal Telegram-like app where you can also do video chats and live streams, it seems like. So there's definitely this tendency of apps evolving into becoming super apps and having more and more and more functionality under their belt, which probably also causes these bloated interfaces with so many icons. Next up, we have Western Film Video. Xijing Video is sponsored by Xijing Group and has an information network transmission audiovisual program license issued by the State Administration of Radio, Film and Television. This is interesting that this app, whatever it does, it's a state networked audiovisual platform that promotes China's excellent film and television culture. So this platform promotes itself by basically being state-sponsored. People's Daily Video, CCTV Video, the Central Committee of the Communist Youth League Network Film and Television Center. So apparently this app is a streaming platform from the government, Netflix from the government it looks like. Also super interesting, and what we can understand here about society as well is that in this app description it's basically a testimonial that it's government owned or released by the government or looked over by the government. Western Film Video, interesting one. Next up we got Drift Bottle, and judging from the screenshots here already, Drift Bottle seems to have a very overloaded, saturated UI, very playful, interesting one. So what is it about? Feeling down and want to talk to someone but don't want to let familiar people know your secrets? Come to the new Drift Bottle to find a stranger to talk to. This is a stranger social software with a theme of Drift Bottle that can talk, chat and make friends. Here 20 million Drift Bottles are picked up and thrown out every day. Okay, so this is an interesting one, an app to talk to strangers and basically share things that you wouldn't share with people you know from your social circle apparently, and all this in this way more playful user interface. Definitely an app unlike anything we have in the West. Super interesting. Next up we have Knowledge Planet. Knowledge Planet, nearly 40 million knowledge paying users have chosen Knowledge Planet here. Creators can closely connect with their unlimited fans. Kevin Kelly once proposed the idea of 1,000 hardcore fans. Anyone engaged in creation or art, as long as they can get 1,000 hardcore fans, it is enough to make a living without worries and create freely. Knowledge Planet is a tool for content creators to connect with hardcore fans. Okay, so this seems like a Patreon clone, sort of, or a Chinese version of Patreon. And if we check here, it's interesting because it actually has a very, very muted interface. Subscription-based content, cool to see though. Oasis, next up we have Oasis with 2.5 million downloads. And Oasis is a wonderful space produced by Weibo, okay, not by a startup, big company. In Oasis, you can easily make friends and find the most compatible person, confide anonymously and feel the warmth and kindness of strangers, return to the original intention and regain the passion for sharing life. Okay, it's apparently similar to this Drift Bottle thing, another meet strangers social app. Super interesting to see that those are apparently very successful in China. Next up we have Drug. Drug is a real chat and dating app for young people, whether it's a social interaction with high value people or a soul dialogue, no matter what kind of relationship, real getting along is our goal. Fresh and different experience, high value people you can meet. So this looks basically similar to, is it a dating app or is it a kind of a chat roulette type of thing? But super interesting also to see. And if we in general go back to the main screen here. It's interesting once you scroll down a bit. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Crazy. It is packed with dating apps to the brim, chatting and making friends, nearby friends, virtual lover, and yeah, this is definitely quick dating nearby. It doesn't even stop, it doesn't end. And this is also an interesting takeaway. We could click on each of those and it would probably be yeah, similar versions of the same thing. And yeah, that's of course also very revealing about Chinese society. So to wrap things up, what have we actually seen here? What has this little detour into the world of the Chinese App Store shown us in terms of Chinese culture, in terms of cultural differences between China in the West? One thing definitely is seeking strangers online seems to be a lot more common in China than in the West. So here we maybe use Instagram and you follow mostly the people you know and maybe some friends of friends as well, but you always get sort of this social proof of this many friends follow this person already, and then you might be motivated to follow them. In China, people are completely okay with meeting total strangers, not only for dating, but also for just chatting and social exchange. What of course also can't be ignored is the sheer amount of dating apps that can be found in the social section of the Chinese App Store. It's crazy. It seems like literally every second app is a dating app, an app for finding true love, an app for finding hookups, an app with the word sex in the name if it's correctly translated. This is absolutely wild and definitely not something I would have expected. The third crazy thing to me are definitely the design differences. So there is no minimalist aesthetic whatsoever in Chinese app design. Everything looks like a game. Saturated colors, cute little mascots everywhere, certainly some cultural differences. That's about it for a little detour into the Chinese App Store. I certainly learned something. I hope you as well. See you around.